Gaming is a weird world, and every month we put together all the weirdest stories we find. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on gameranx, weird gaming stories of June 2019. Coming in at number 10, according to a Russian official, the Metal Gear video game series, developed in Japan by Konami and up until Metal Gear Survive by visionary director Hideo Kojima, is actually secretly a weapon used by US intelligence agencies to manipulate the public into protesting against the authorities. This is according to Deputy Defense Minister Andrei Kartapolov. Now, I'm making the assumption he's talking about Metal Gear Solid 2, which came out in 2002, in which some people were Russian in the first part of the game, and it really didn't matter a lot. In fact, it was the United States that was the bad guy. Yet generally, Metal Gear Solid is just against basically everything, but most specifically, the fact that it is probably most specifically against the US government and the war machine makes this not a very credible idea by this person. Now, of course, Metal Gear is fictional, so things are a bit exaggerated. Anyway, the defense minister told the Moscow Times that Metal Gear is part of a weapons program to discredit Russia's civilized state, cultural ideology, and religious identity. Okay, alright. Like, not even a single Metal Gear addresses Russia as it is now. And moving on to number 9. Miller Lite came up with something they're calling the Can-troller, the first controller you can drink. News articles that are most likely taking information from Miller Lite, like a press release or something, are touting it as a way to play your favorite games via Bluetooth as well as drink a beer, because oftentimes you're doing both at the same time. Why not combine the two? Well, I'm going to go ahead and say you're not going to play your favorite games with this if your favorite games require an analog stick, or two, as many games do nowadays. In fact, you could play a Super Nintendo game as long as it doesn't use the L and R buttons on top of the controller, because it does not have L and R buttons, it just has a D-pad, ABXY, select and start. Now, does that mean it is bad? No, it is not bad. It's actually pretty cool, technologically speaking. However, here's a direct quote that I feel is a bit disingenuous. As Miller Lite evolves our place in the world of gaming and esports, we're continuing to focus on what it means to be a fan of gaming and building activations that elevate the gaming experience for players and fans. No. This is a collector's item. It's cool, it's neat that it actually works, but they're only making 200 of them, and if you drank out of it and then played it, you'd probably crush the can playing a game, especially if you get frustrated. Like, can you imagine the people that throw controllers being able to just crumple the controller into a ball? Oops, limited run, 200. Guess I'm never seeing that again. No, it's a collector's item, and I wish they would call it that. And coming in at number 8, NHL 20. You know, the 2020 NHL game. You know, hockey, the competitive sports game where two teams play against each other, maneuvering a puck across the ice with the intent of getting it into the opponent's goal. Players use hockey sticks in an attempt to score points in this way. NHL 20 being the video game version of that, coming out soon, and also explained in a suspiciously detailed way by myself right here. Well, I'm doing that for effect, as you may have guessed. Why? Well, there is going to be a battle royale in NHL 20. It's going to be called Eliminator. A representative from EA had this to say: inspired by the winner-take-all competition in Battle Royale, Eliminator is a new way to compete in NHL 1s and NHL 3s that pits up to 81 players against each other in a survival tournament bracket to be crowned the ultimate winner. Okay, alright. I don't know what to say other than the hockey game has a Battle Royale mode in it. I mean, if it were any other industry, this would be where I would say, that's it, that's no more Battle Royale, no more of that. There'll be more. However, will they beat how weird this one is? Probably not. And coming in at number 7, the Israeli power company has asked the creators of Fortnite to no longer allow players to scale poles in the game. Now, the thing that you're probably going to think of, is it lewd? No, that's not what they mean at all. What the Israeli power company is worried about is dangerous copycat behavior among children. That is to say, they're worried about kids climbing power poles because of Fortnite. And it hasn't even happened either. They've asked Epic to change it because it's risking encouraging this dangerous copycat behavior. Of all the things you could dislike Fortnite for, of all of them, really? And coming in at number 6, oh my lordy. When I said June was a weird month for gaming, you may have thought I meant June like every other month is weird. No, this particular June is the weirdest we've had by far. I don't even have to mention E3 for the most part, because we've had stuff like EA saying in court that they don't have loot boxes in their games. They have surprise mechanics, and they're quite ethical. If they think that, I don't even know what to say. It's so ridiculous. It's surprise mechanics. No, you've broken my brain, EA. It's done. My brain's done. I've literally spent weeks thinking about this, and there's just no way to. Everybody hated loot boxes in Battlefront and also in FIFA because there's been plenty of complaints about both. In Battlefront, they just removed the loot boxes and rebalanced the game, making the game quite a bit better. In FIFA, they decided, we'll just call them surprise mechanics. And you know what? That's the logical conclusion. That's the thing I've come up with. There's no other way for this to have gone. That's the thing they want to do business-wise. They want to turn everything into these ongoing live service machines and figure out ways to get money out of people. And the easiest way to get money out of people is to trick them into gambling without realizing they're gambling. But the name loot boxes has become heavily stigmatized thanks to the media talking about it. We're going to call it surprise mechanics. It was inevitable. Not necessarily the name surprise mechanics, but just trying another name. There's no criticism for this because they changed the name of loot boxes and they want people to accept loot boxes again. What? No, you absolute filthy freakazoids. Number 5, appropriately so. A dad promised a son he would buy him a PlayStation 5 if he could hit the crossbar on a soccer/football goal. He had to do it 3 times in a row. Now, I'm sure this took a lot of attempts. This is not an easy thing to do by any means. And also, we don't really have a lot of information about the PlayStation 5 at this point. I know a lot of people were really hoping to hear some at E3, but Sony wasn't even there. They were just kind of like, we'll deal with that later. We have a bunch of games coming out over the next year before the PlayStation 5, so let's just concentrate on that, not deal with the big flash. Which is cool, it's fine, whatever. I mean, it didn't really help the momentum of E3 at all, but whatever. Anyway, this kid did it. They posted a video of it to our PS4, and it's amazing. I could never do that. I don't know that I could even do it once, honestly. But, unfortunately, this kid is going to be waiting a while. Number 4, there's Xbox Bodywash now. Produced in partnership with Axe, Microsoft is making lifestyle products now. Xbox Bodywash. When I see this, my brain was already broken from the surprise mechanics thing. Is this anywhere nearly as bad as that? No, of course not. But it did warp my brain. I'm not going to use Xbox Bodywash. I'm actually kind of hoping I don't even see it, because I want to just be able to play my Xbox not thinking about that. In fact, I'm going to just try to unsee, all of the articles about this altogether. Hey, number 3 is also not good. All this stuff is so weird. It was enough that EA was actually, they're not loot boxes, they're surprise mechanics. But 2K was you know what? We think that 60-second unskippable ads belong in $60 games. The game went on sale, I think, for $3 across various platforms, and for a game that new, that's weird, sure. But the amount of people that played this game buying it for $60, it's ridiculous. If you'd have told me 5 years ago,
let me tell you why you're here,
that they'd be putting unskippable ads in games that you paid $60 for, I don't know if I would have believed you. Number 2, like I said, we'd mention a little bit of E3, but let's cleanse the palate with this one a bit. 2 words, Kumi Nakamura. Somebody who just has a genuine enthusiasm for video games came out and gave the presentation that everybody noticed other than the one with Keanu Reeves in it. And for good reason. It's really nice to have something positive in the gaming world. This month is wild. I mean, her energy, or dancing around stage and showing that she's so clearly incredibly excited for what she's doing. That and the fact that the game actually looks good. Ghostwire, who both Kumi Nakamura and Shinji Mikami, the father of survival horror, are working on. I can't wait to see where this game goes. The presentation was just electric. The footage was really cool. Concept seems very interesting. And honestly, it's just nice to see that kind of unbridled enthusiasm, at least sometimes. Although it's telling that we're calling this weird. Also, let's just be honest, there were some fairly weird memes and fan art about her afterwards. There were some fairly decent ones too, though, at least. Let's try to salvage that positivity here. And finally, number 1, I already mentioned it, the Keanu Reeves reveal. That's actually not exactly what I'm talking about, but his presentation was, again, just like the other we talked about, electric. However, the guy who yelled "You're breathtaking" at Keanu Reeves, and they offered him a free copy of Cyberpunk 2077, and not just any copy, but the collector's edition next year, but his response was amazing, to the point that it was weird. And I don't use that term derisively, because he said, that would be awesome, but how about donating a go-kart through Gamers Outreach to a children's hospital instead? That would be breathtaking. I mean, could this person be any better? Couple of quick bonus points for you. Somebody was actually really happy to be paying for their repair for their Nintendo Switch because Nintendo Japan listed labor as the primary expense on the invoice. Now that sounds really boring, but it's actually great because when the same guy got a PlayStation thing repaired, Sony didn't include labor on the invoice, they just charge him a set amount of money, and that obscures the human cost of a repair. And let's be frank, everybody deserves their fair share for putting the work in. Nintendo wants you to understand that they aren't against that, which good on Nintendo. Moving on, there was a controversy about the size of, in Final Fantasy VII, Tifa's breasts. People were angry about it, and Square Enix had to roll out the words ethics department and constricting her chest in intense action scenes. It's not stuff that I would think anybody would have to talk about. I'm not going to try to argue for or against any change in character, but they have gone for a decidedly more realistic look with all of the characters, and let's just be honest, for a real person, they're still pretty big, if that's what really matters to you. Moving on, backers demanded Kickstarter refunds when Shenmue 3 had announced their Epic exclusivity because, of course, a big title like that would just get sapped up by those folks. And in some ways, it almost feels like they're seeking deals that will exclusively bother people. I don't know what to make of that. And finally, on America's Got Talent, yes, I understand that sounds like it has nothing to do with gaming. On America's Got Talent, this Mortal Kombat dance crew just did some stuff that defies all logic. I don't even know what to call it, but it was really good, and at least we're ending on something positive, because like I said, there's a lot of negative weird stuff this month. What weird stuff did you think about, did you see, did you deal with in the gaming world this month? Leave us a comment, let us know what you think, and if you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week, and the best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription, so click subscribe, and don't forget to click the notification bell. As always, thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter at FalconTheHero, and we will see you next time, right here on gameranx.